I have just woken up. It's about 7:30 in the morning. I've come outside to do my morning stillness, grounding and prayer. And I wanted to come on and share an experience that I went through yesterday and what I've really noticed with the effects that it's had on me physically, emotionally, mentally, because I think it's really important to share all of it, the highs and the lows. And so yesterday I had an appointment booked in at a local hospital vet. So it's a vet that, obviously being in a country where I don't speak the language, and I've never really needed a vet too much in the UK, apart from when we went travelling and we had to get some paperwork done for Shadow. And then I have a holistic vet. So I use the holistic vet for anything I may need with Shadow. So instead of vaccinating him, we use something called nosodes. Anything that I'm concerned about, I go to the holistic vets. And of course, they lead with a holistic approach, just like human adult medicine. It's very different. But being in Europe, I don't have that luxury, shall we say. I haven't yet come across any local holistic vets. And yes, I do feel that they do things much more naturally out here anyway. But that being said, it still doesn't lead with that holistic approach. So I last year took Shadow back to the UK whilst we were travelling and got some tests done because I noticed he was losing a lot of weight, and it turned out that he had French heartworm. I did it through my holistic vet, and they, were like, he is going to have to have some conventional medication for this, like it's going to have to be for a month and things like that. So, it's not that I'm against using any medicine, like for my own self, like the hospitals and conventional medicine saved my life. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for that. But go into that as your first point of call rather than actually looking at every part of the body and seeing what's going on, like nutritionally and stress and things like that. Like it's just the same with animals as it is with humans. So I trusted them and we took this medication and it cleared up. Since we've been travelling after the summer last year, he has been better. I've noticed that he's had a lot more intolerances to certain foods. So he's raw fed, and there's some foods that I now can't give him because, not that anything major happens, but I definitely notice like his bowel habits change and he gets a lot of gas and stomach rumbling and stuff like that. So Shadow has always been very small, as I'm watching him running around the garden like a nutter right now. He's always been very small. He sits usually at around 10.5 kilograms. And a few months back, I met with my holistic vet just for like a checkup. And he was like, right, we're going to try and aim to get Shadow for 12 kilos. Let's try and do what we can. So changing some things with his food, adding some prebiotics, probiotic, adding some sweet potato in, some extra fish and things like that to really try and like bulk him up a little bit. And it was doing really well. And then over the last few weeks, I've noticed that he started to lose a lot of weight again. And I noticed because he needed a groom, I was brushing him and I could really feel his spine. And I was like, oh, this doesn't feel normal. So then he went for a groom and I was able to actually see his body better. And you can see his ribs and things like that. And I weighed him, and right now he's sitting at about 9.5 kilos. So I did a stool test through the hospital vet that is here, and they speak fairly good English. So did a stool test. It was clear for any like parasites or worms or anything like that. They did see that some like intestinal debris or something when they looked at it under the microscope. But that can just be completely normal, the gut shedding, things that they eat in the garden. It's not a massive concern. But alongside the weight loss and some morning vomiting, they wanted to do a blood test, rule out things like Lyme's disease, just double check for heartworm, and do an abdominal scan as well. So they booked us in for an appointment yesterday. I didn't even think twice about it, but yesterday was a big holiday in Montenegro. So what that meant was all the normal vets were shut. So we turned up and the car park was full. And I was like, wow, I've never seen it full before. And it was very busy, but we got in. We ended up waiting about 20 minutes before we even saw someone. And I do have to give them their credit because, look, I don't speak their language. They were this beautiful woman called Senna. She was so helpful. She really cared. You can just tell that, like, she was really interested in what was happening with Shadow, how he's fed, what his day looks like, what his stress levels are like, what his energy's like. Like, she was asking every single question, like really trying to get a good picture of him. She was explaining about the stool test. She was just really going into a lot of detail. I was telling her about previous worm tests we've had. She was like, can you just send us everything? Send us all the images. And you could just see her care and her passion for wanting to make sure that the animals were okay. I do love it because when we're sitting in the waiting room waiting, all you can see is everyone coming up to Shadow, like his little tail wagging, like everyone else is, you know, mostly cats in there, but the animals are just doing what they're doing. But Shadow is just sitting there like with this big like smile on his face, wagging his tail, and everyone's just always so happy to see him, and they're like, wow, he's amazing, is he a puppy? And I'm like, no, he's actually like 3.5 right now, and no one can believe it when I tell them how old he is. They're like, what, he's 3.5? But he's just got this like beaming like puppy energy inside him with his little puppy dog eyes. So anyway, we went through what we went through. They did some blood tests. She checked him, checked his temperature. They ended up doing an abdominal scan, a heart scan, like loads of different things. Not going to go into all the details of it because I'm sure most of you watching won't either really care or really know or anything like that. So the results are irrelevant. There's nothing major happening, but there are some things showing up in his body that his body's under some stress, inflammation, infection. Something is happening. We're just not sure what yet. But the reason why I wanted to come and share it is because putting yourself in a situation of being basically in a hospital, it feels very much like a hospital. It's very white, very clinical, LED lights, tannoys going off. Like, it's not like you're just walking into a little vet. It's a full-on hospital. And my life and the way I live is very systemized, very protective of my energy, the places that I choose to take myself, the people that I choose to be around, how I spend my mornings. I am so protective of my energy, and I think that that is so important because it really allows me to be slow, to be able to thrive, to be able to connect to myself. And I know that we live a very incredible life, and the systems that we have set up in our home are super high, like incredible. I see it when I go and stay at other people's homes. I see it when people come over to our homes and they comment about it. But when you're actually, you know, I was in there for over 3 hours yesterday. I don't think I've ever spent that long in a vet or anything like that. And the unknown, you're sitting there and you're just waiting. You're seeing animals that are very sick, very poorly. And look, for anyone who maybe doesn't know this, I'll let you in for a little secret. Shadow is my world. And I'm sure a lot of people will speak that about their animals, but truly, he is my world. He came into my life shortly after we lost Aoife, and he gave me so much love and bonding that I was so deeply craving and needing from going through a loss of a baby. It had been about 6 months from losing Aoife to getting Shadow. They were both born in 2022, and just when he was so small, he used to just lie on my chest. He would sleep with his head under my neck. Like, we had this incredible bond that really, really helped me in the time when I was deeply depressed. I was not wanting to be here anymore, and that has created this bond with us. Like, we had some friends over the other day, and we went out for a couple of hours. We went for some dinner. We came back, all of us. Charlie went in first, let Shadow out, and then it was our two friends, and then I was still like coming with stuff like by the car, and Shadow just zoomed past everyone. And he loves people, he loves seeing new people, but he zoomed past everyone and came straight to me. And they were speaking about, like, wow, you can literally see, not just from that example, but just from how he is with me, you can literally see how much he adores me, how much he loves me. And I feel it. Like, he is my little best mate. We do everything together. Of course, him and Charlie have a great bond, but I'm the one who feeds him. I'm the one who's waking up with him in the morning. I'm the one who comes outside with him. Like, I'm the one, if we go out, the majority of time, I'm holding his lead. Like, I'm preparing all his food. Like, I'm taking him to his appointments. I'm taking him to get groomed. I'm taking him to the vets. Like, I'm doing all of that. It's just the role that I've fitted into. And even though I knew that, well, I didn't know, but I had confidence that there wasn't anything massively like life-threatening going on, because his energy, clinically, he is very well. He's full of energy. He's eating like crazy. Like, his urine and his bowels are normal and things like that. He has got a temperature. He is losing weight. He has been a bit sick in the mornings. So there is something going on. But I didn't go in like fear. I thought I was just going in for a quick blood test, quick scan, and we'd be out. Because a few things showed up, they wanted to do extra like tests. And I'm really grateful that they did do that, because I've got this huge pack now of all this information. They translated it all to English for me, gave me all the results of everything. And it really allows me now to kind of, I've got a plan with them. I'm also going to meet with my holistic vet on Zoom again and be able to go for a plan with him as well. But just that feeling of being in that situation where you almost feel like helpless. I really pride myself on creating a life, not just for Shadow, but also for us, where as little as possible, we have to use external support. Now, there is a time and a place where that may need to happen. When we lost Ether, we did reach out for external support. When Shadow needs a stool test or he's showing some sort of symptoms, we will reach out for certain support. But the way we live our general life and our supplementation and our quality of food, our quality of like our lifestyle with our stress and the environment, what chemicals and toxins we've got around us, Shadow's exactly the same. If I get him a dog bed, I cover it with a organic cotton sheet, because I care about his body, I care about his skin. Like, some people will think I'm absolutely insane to do that, because he'll also at the same time come outside and eat dog shit. But it's like, I will do my bit to ensure that I am allowing him to live as healthily that he can whilst he can. Dogs aren't here for as long as what we are. And overall, touch wood, he's been a very healthy dog that, apart from the French heartworm last year, we haven't really had any problems with him health-wise. And yeah, it just really made me feel definitely a little bit anxious yesterday. My Aura ring told me that I had a lot of stress yesterday, which makes sense. Like, I'm in a situation where I almost feel like I'm out of control. And as much as people are being very accommodating, very nice, like very supportive, they will say things that they don't necessarily understand why you don't vaccinate. They don't understand why you don't deworm or use chemical products for fleas and ticks. They don't understand why you don't just buy food off the shelf that's packet and biscuits and all that other crap. They don't fully understand, because they just don't have that same awareness or knowledge, and that's okay. There's no judgment about that. But again, this is another one of the things that being outside of our home country, of one, where we speak the language, but two, we also do have the options and the availability to go to things like holistic vets. All the surrounding countries where I am right now don't have that. So it's just another one of those things that really makes you see, like, there's pros and cons to everywhere. Nowhere's perfect. No country is going to be perfect for you to live in. There are going to be some things you have to sacrifice. Thankfully, I have an amazing holistic vet who knows Shadow very well, and he's happy to hop on Zoom with me from time to time and be able to support us and give us guidance and whatever else that might be. He stocks us up on some homeopathy before I came and left the UK, so that we've got stuff in case Shadow needs it. So you really do just learn to work like with what you've got and adapt and plan the best that you can so that you've got backups if you do need it. And I definitely feel very tired in my body. I feel like my energy has been really drained. I also do know that I'm approaching my bleed, so it's just all sort of come at this time. But I'm grateful for the support we did get. I'm grateful that Shadow has now had a full MOT, let's say, and you know, I know the size of all of these organs now and everything. They did such a thorough check. The price of what I paid compared to what we would pay in the UK is like mind-blowing, how much more we would pay being in the UK for what Shadow went through yesterday. So of course I'm also very, very grateful for that, because it always helps. I will never put a price on my dog, but again, it really does just go to show. I went to a conventional vet's once in the UK for Shadow, and that was because we needed to get all his stuff done for him to travel and leave the UK. This was back in 2023, and the experience was horrible. It was like they didn't care. It was just, I walked out of there feeling like dirty, feeling stressed, feeling like really not good. I didn't feel like that yesterday. Yes, I knew I had some anxiety and worries in my body, but I didn't feel that like stress. And so the fact that I could have had the same experience in the UK yesterday, paid a lot higher price, had a lot more stress and worry, and walked out there feeling really, really bad, I didn't have that. So you really do have to lean into like the positives and what yesterday did give, and how much it was able to give now a clearer picture. I'm able to work with what I've got, have some peace of mind of what is happening with Shadow, that I'm not just being a crazy hypochondriac thinking there's something wrong. Like, his body is showing us symptoms that something is happening, and we can now work with that. So as much as I definitely feel quite drained from the experience, which I think a big part of that also comes mentally and the places that your mind can take it, the like what ifs, I also feel at a lot of peace and very grateful for the experience.